Now, the lesson talks about Rome after the triumvirate and after the rule of Julius Caesar.
هو جودة بره بس. جودة في الويتنج.
Okay. Let me check. Okay. I admitted them all. It's a matter of time and they're going to join us. Now, earlier in the previous lessons, we discussed the achievements of the Roman Empire and how did they affect all the areas around the empire. Now, the last thing we reached was that Caesar Augustus, who was formerly known as Octavian, he was the one after the second triumvirate who started ruling Rome and started a new era or a new time frame. During his time of rule, it was a time of great peace and prosperity. So they called this time the Pax Romana or Roman peace. During the Pax Romana, Rome was at its peak. Now, what were the achievements or the changes that Augustus did in order for this time to be known as the Roman peace? The first thing is Augustus started his time of rule or his reign by creating a permanent professional army that is made up of 150,000 Roman citizens. So now we're discussing why the time frame when Augustus ruled was known as the Roman peace or was known as Pax Romana. In other words, I can also ask you, what are the reforms or the changes that Augustus made to the Roman Empire during his reign? A third form of questioning might be, what are Octavian's or Augustus's contributions to the Roman Empire? So the first contribution or accomplishment was the permanent professional army that is made up of 150,000 Roman citizens. The second sub-accomplishment was that he made a special unit that is made up of 9,000 men. These 9,000 men were known as the Praetorian Guards. And these guards were like the private bodyguards to protect Augustus himself. Now, in order to protect his empire from invasions, the third accomplishment that Augustus did was that he established borders around the natural physical features like the rivers, the oceans, and the mountains. So the Roman Empire expanded for a certain area. He took the physical features like the rivers, the oceans, the mountains to protect him. And then after these natural protections, he made the borders of the Roman Empire. And he put soldiers on the borders to protect these areas that are surrounds the empire. Now, what other contributions did he do? During his time, he created districts known as provinces or divisions. He divided the Roman Empire into divisions. Now, because the Roman Empire expanded a lot in size, he had to also create the role of a proconsul or a governor. He could not rule the whole area by himself. He could not follow up all the tiny or all the small details of the provinces. So he had to assign proconsuls or governors that refer to him in every single decision making, but at the same time, they know the framework or they know how to work and what are Augustus's rules, and they apply it to the provinces. During his time of rule, which was 10 BC, Rome had over 50 million people living within its borders. With the new leaders who are the proconsuls in place, they started the first task, which was tax collecting, and then they created a new role or a new job, which is a tax collector. The governors or the proconsuls could not go to all the provinces to collect the taxes from the people, so they assigned a job under them, which was known as the tax collector or the official. So the highest authority or the highest leader in the Roman Empire was Augustus. Beneath Augustus were the governors or the proconsuls. Under the proconsuls or the governors were the tax collectors or the officials. Now, in order to avoid any chaos inside the country, and in order to keep the poor Roman people happy, Augustus imported grains from Africa and he started giving it to the poor. Now, after ruling for 40 years, Augustus died in 14 AD, and his son Tiberius took over. Now, Tiberius didn't last for a long time. There was nothing really known for his accomplishments. So in the year 68, Vespasian became the emperor of Rome. Unlike Augustus and the previous Roman rulers, he was a very harsh ruler to the citizens and to anyone who opposed the Roman rule or anything he said. Now, after him, from the period of 96 AD to 180 AD, Rome had 5 good emperors. These 5 good emperors, they did not abuse their power. They were not tyrants, and they were not taking the hierarchy or the monarchy down. During this time, it was the time of the wealth and prosperity for Rome. Why were they known as good rulers, or why were they known as good emperors? They did a lot of contributions to the Roman Empire. Their contributions included a lot of social services for people, like using the tax money for education, and they also gave money to the orphans to help them. They rebuilt roads and they rebuilt bridges and any artifacts that were destroyed by the previous wars or the previous times. Now, this is where we're going to stop for today. You have one small task to do, which is you're going to go back to your book, and I need you only to write down the 5 names of the emperors so we can discuss them in detail tomorrow. Now, concerning today's part, do you have any questions concerning this part of the lesson?
No.